thank you to today's sponsor, Skillshare. Hello everyone, it's Amanda. Welcome back. As usual, today we are planning for March 2024. I'm setting up my bullet journal, and I know I say this a lot, so I don't know how much weight my words hold at this point, but this actually genuinely might be one of my favorite things I've made in a really long time. Like, she cooked, she slayed, she ate. How many letters in NDA? Oh no. There's not 8 letters, but trust me, wait till the end. You guys will see. It really came together. The trust the process moment, and we definitely trusted the process, and it paid off. I kind of matched my outfit to the theme, but this month I wanted to create something that had a chrome effect to it, like melted liquid, very shiny reflective chrome. I think chrome has been really in lately, metallics. I've been noticing a lot of metallics in fashion, graphic design, art, everything. Because I noticed a lot of chrome and silver out in the world, of course my brain was like, how could I turn this into a spread or art of some sort? So I really set my mind to creating a silver chrome graphic Y2K setup, but I kind of didn't really know how to go about it. It was definitely just a fun challenge when I thought of this idea. But if you were on the stream and saw my thought process, we kind of started out slowly, built it up. I actually did do some like test sketches with the coloring beforehand, which I normally don't really do. You guys know by now, a lot of the times with these setups, I'll just like go in and wing it. For some reason, I was feeling extra this month and I just really felt like drawing and creating art. So I whipped out the colored pencils for this month. The true enemies to lovers storyline is me with colored pencils, because you guys know I used to hate colored pencils, but recently a lot of my themes have used colored pencils, and this month I used colored pencils to create that chrome effect. So for the cover page, I really sketched out large shapes like hearts, stars. I wanted the lettering to be sort of like this cyber futuristic look, so kind of like Winx Club Powerpuff Girls-esque. And then to color in those simple shapes, we are going to be creating a 3D chrome effect with the colored pencils. This was the big task at hand, and I know when you guys see the final result, you guys are probably like, whoa, it looks so complicated, I would never be able to do that. And that was exactly my thought process going into it, but I really broke it down, started from the beginning, took things step by step, and I even watched videos and tutorials on how to color chrome reflective surfaces, which was really helpful. And it was kind of a lesson to me in general, always learning and expanding your artistic references, skills, and techniques. I think a lot of times, especially as an adult, sometimes you're like stuck in your ways and you think there's nothing else you can improve on, but as long as you seek out new challenges, I think it definitely pushes you. So that was something that we did on stream, was like learning the techniques to create this chrome effect. And on that note, if you guys are also looking to expand your artistic creative knowledge, I definitely recommend Skillshare. I actually found a very extensive tutorial on painting and coloring reflective chrome-like surfaces on Skillshare, and it was amazing, like the details that the teachers went into. So I will link that one down below in case you guys are interested in learning about the light and color theory. Skillshare is the largest online community for creatives and artists and professionals even, and there are thousands of classes taught by industry professionals on topics like painting, illustration, graphic design, photography. This year is the year of learning and growing, guys. I think it is so important, especially as an adult, when you're not forced to learn, to kind of intentionally do that yourself, and there's no better investment. There's actually this new thing on Skillshare that I learned about recently called learning paths, and it's designed to get you from novice to pro. Basically, it's hand-picked learning classes in order. I think it's great because it builds on each other and you don't need to seek out specific classes, because sometimes you don't even know where to start. Like for example, let's say you want to improve your drawing skills. That's such a broad topic, and there's so many drawing tutorials on the internet out there. You can't just like search one specific thing. There actually is a learning path called Discover the Art and Science of Drawing, and it really breaks things down into the basics, takes things back to the beginning, and slowly builds you up. So I think checking out those learning paths would be a really great place to start. So if you guys want to try out Skillshare, the first 500 people to use my link will get a 1-month free trial. Okay, back to the spreads. I just continued coloring in the shapes, slowly building those colors to create that chrome metallic look, and I kind of got the hang of it as I was going, so I decided to challenge myself and also make it so that the lettering for March would also have the chrome effect. Initially, I was just going to do the shapes because I felt like that was enough of an impact, but I was having so much fun with the colored pencils that I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go full chrome. This was actually even more of a challenge because I feel like the stars and the hearts are at least geometric shapes, so a lot of those basic principles of the lights and the color reflection are easy to apply, but since the lettering is much more complex with a lot more bends and curves, I winged it a little bit. And there were some mistakes. Like, I don't think it's perfect, of course, since it is more complex, but I think it came together really nicely. And overall, I'll say the thing that I learned about creating this chrome effect is that the dark values actually make the biggest difference, which is so interesting because when I think of silver, metallic, chrome, I think of bright and light, you know, it reflects light, so it seems like it would be a lot of like grays and whites, but actually a lot of what creates that chrome effect is the parts that are reflecting the surroundings around it, so a lot of that is shadows. So the colored pencil that I actually used the most was the black as well as the dark gray, and then I sort of layered in some light blues, yellows, and pinks just to give it a bit more dimension and interest. Now, as you can see, I also decided to go really extra and paint in the background fully black with my gouache paints. I don't know why, this was just something I felt like I had to do. It's definitely the extra step that I did not need to do because I think it also looked great on the white plain background, but I was like, you know what, I'm already committing so hard. It was already the longest amount of time that I spent on a cover page before, and I was so proud of the silver chrome look that I was able to achieve with the colored pencil, so I was like, you know what, we're gonna take it one step further, and I felt like the black would really make it pop and make it look very futuristic, so I decided to paint in the background with my gouache paints. It was a risk because I was like, oh, if I hate it, I cannot take it back, but I'm actually so glad that I decided to do it because the black really makes the silver pop, and it almost makes it look like I printed it on, which is crazy because I did not print it. As you guys saw from the beginning, I created this and I'm so proud of the way that it ended up turning out. Once I used my thin brush to cut around all of the edges of the lettering and the stars, I actually felt like it looked a little bit too much as if I had cut out stickers and printed them on, which is not a bad thing, but I wanted to soften the edges a little bit, so I used my colored pencil to outline some of the edges just to soften up those edges and make it look more like I drew it on, which kind of defeats the purpose because later on for the rest of the spreads, what I actually did was I scanned the cover page, printed it out in different sizes so that I didn't need to do the chrome look for every single page, which I definitely could have because I feel like by the end of this setup, I have become a pro at creating the chrome look with colored pencils, and it would have been really fun, but for the sake of efficiency, because throughout the month I definitely don't have as much time to create art in my bullet journal as I do when I sit down and make the beginning of the month setup, so I really wanted to make things efficient for myself when I go ahead and make those weekly spreads later on. So I essentially just made my own stickers from this theme. You guys will see in a bit. Oh, here's my quote page, and I used a quote from an XG song that I really like, which they always have these cool futuristic music videos and graphics, so I felt like their music and their visuals really matched this theme. My favorite song from them is Left Right, but this song is called Shooting Star, and the quote is just, all these shooting stars in the dark make a wish. But yes, here you can see these are the scans of the drawings that I made, and you can see they look pretty realistic, like as if I drew them on. So I just cut those all out and use them like stickers, but maybe if you guys want, I can make these actual stickers and sell them on Shop ARL if you guys are interested. I don't know, would be kind of cool and definitely different from any of these stickers that we've ever done, but I'm just so proud of the way these turned out, so I'm like, we have to do something with them for Shop for sure. Here I'm making my monthly calendar page, and for this month I just made a really large calendar layout with the 6x6 boxes, and then I used my gouache paints to paint in the entire background. I've realized the trick for painting in large areas like this, if you're painting in a notebook similar to this one where it's just like bullet journal paper or thicker paper, is to add a little bit of water, not too much, because if you add too much, the paper will crinkle. Even if it's 160 GSM paper like mine, which is really thick, it's still going to wrinkle, of course, if you add too much water. So luckily with gouache, you can actually use it pretty dry, especially if it's fresh out of the tube. But if you add the tiniest bit of water, it'll make it so that the paint will spread evenly and nicely over the paper like this, making it easy for you to paint in backgrounds, but it won't be too wet that it'll get all curly and wrinkly on you. So yeah, and like look at how nicely this dries down. It's like perfectly black and matte, and it's so satisfying. I recreated that same futuristic ring-like lettering at the top for March, which I'm now realizing, since I was doing this whole scanning thing, I probably could have scanned that cover page lettering as well and turned that into a sticker if I was truly being very efficient about it, but for some reason I didn't think about that at all. Also, side note, if you want a trick for using the colored pencils, I've realized that as I was doing it, something that really helped was using my white pencil crayon to blend a lot of the colors in. So that was a trick that I used a lot with creating this coloring effect. So then doing the same thing with the letters, and now that I'm looking at it, the lettering kind of looks like a car logo. But you know what? I'm kind of here for it because it's on brand with my current hyperfixation obsession with F1. I know it's very unexpected for me, and trust me, I never thought I would get into F1, but because of the Netflix show and everything, I have recently been really into watching F1, and yeah, it's just a new love of mine. Never would have thought I would have become a car girl, but here I am, and I love it. So if any of you guys watch F1, please sound off in the comments. Let me know what you think about the new season of Drive to Survive. Let me know if you're excited for the new season of the races. I'm excited. Anyway, as I was finishing off the monthly calendar spread, I felt like it was looking a little bit boring, so I decided to make the boxes a bit more interesting by rounding off the corners of each box individually, like you can see me doing here. And because my background is black, it actually made it very easy to go back in and do this, even though it wasn't my original intention, because I could just use a black fine liner and create these diamond shapes at the intersection of all the lines, like so, and I think it looks really cool. It looks like these rounded boxes that are stacked up together like this, and it just makes it look a bit more unique. And then using my white Uni Posca paint pen, I wrote out the days of the week at the top. Initially, I was going to create the silver lettering as well for this lettering, but then I was like, you know what, Amanda, settle down. We don't have to go too all out. So I just used my white Posca paint pen on top of the black, and I think it looks perfect. I did use a silver gel pen to create circles on each of the days. You actually can't really see the silver circles that well on the overhead camera because the light is reflecting off of the silver, so it just kind of looks white here, but on the side angle, you can definitely see that those circles are silver. And then on top of that, I just used my black pen to write out the numbers of the days. Okay, here is where you can see me breaking out the scanned copies of those silver stars and hearts that I created. They do look more like cutouts in this case because they actually are, but again, for efficiency's sake, I think it worked out pretty well. Okay, and next spread is the final spread. I didn't make all my usual tracker spreads this month because quite honestly, I haven't had the bandwidth to keep up with those on a daily basis recently, so I've just been using these sort of weekly and daily overview spreads lately, so that's what I'm showing you guys here. I created this spread on the left where I have my weekly events at the top, kind of stacked in those rounded boxes like the monthly calendar, and then at the bottom is where I put my rolling to-do list for the week. I think using the chrome shapes stickers as well as painting the background makes this look like a spread that took a lot longer to make than it actually did, because since everything was printed out and painting the background doesn't really take that long, in total I think it took me about maybe 15 minutes to make this spread. I think the thing that probably took the longest was the lettering, but once I got the hang of it, it was pretty quick to do, especially since I don't think it had to be perfect for this weekly spread. The one interesting thing that I did have was these silver alphabet stickers that I got in Korea, so I used those for the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of it all on that weekly layout at the top. I think a really important final touch that I did on all of the chrome colored effects that I did, whether it was the lettering or the shapes, was to use my Uni Posca paint marker to create those final super white highlights. You'll see me do it in a bit here. I'm just using my colored pencils with the black and the blue and the yellow, but the very final touch after I built up those colors and blended them all in together was to create those white highlights, because sometimes those white highlights get a little bit muddy even if you leave space for it when you're coloring, so I think those are super important as well. And then finally, on the other side of the spread, I did create a tracker of sorts. It's not my usual monthly trackers, it's actually a weekly tracker. I wanted to try this out because I've never really experimented too much with weekly trackers, but I thought it could work for me, especially in this era that I'm in where I don't really have the energy or bandwidth to create monthly trackers or to keep up with them for that matter. So I thought that weekly trackers could be something that would be a good alternative, that would be low bandwidth to keep up with, and in that case I could also switch out the habits that I'm tracking for that particular week. So for this one, I'm only tracking 4 habits. And then at the bottom here, you see me create a section that says check-in. And that's just because, as I mentioned in my previous setups, I've been writing a lot more in my bullet journal, almost as if they're like journal or diary entry spaces. And I've been really enjoying just having a place to write and spew out my thoughts at the end of the week. And it's just my little check-in area. Alright guys, as I mentioned, this is one of my favorite things I've ever made, so here's the big reveal, here's the final flip through of my March 2024 bullet journal setup with the 3D chrome Y2K look. But guys, how cool is this? I have never been more proud of something that I made. I think it's so cool. Definitely might need to be in the 2025 doodle planner, and above all else, I think it's just really cool. Above all else, I just had this very satisfied feeling of something that I made that I haven't had in a while, and I think it is because I really didn't think I would be able to do it at the very beginning, and we did it. As usual, here are your recreations from last month as well as your doodle planner spreads. If you guys recreate any of my spreads or use the doodle planner, please send them to me. It's my favorite part, seeing you guys use my products or seeing you guys be inspired by the videos that I make. So tag me, tag Shop ARL, all of the things. Anyway, what a beautiful end to this art journey. It felt like a hero's journey of me trying to create this chrome look, but we did it. I will talk to you guys in the next one. Keep doodling. Bye.